One, why is Congresswoman Jayapal's name not in Congressman Pfluger's resolution on Israel? And second, what do you have to say about the first votes today that are going to be on resolutions to undo national emergencies, which, according to Gabriel Naran, who worked on Iran policy in the State Department during the Trump administration, would lift terrorism-related sanctions?
Yeah. So first question, this legislation really deals with the overall desire for us to stand up against anti-Semitism. So you've seen many people on the left express those kind of views. We're having a very direct piece of legislation that stands up against anti-Semitism. She's not the only one, but Democrats should have to answer for her statements. As far as these pieces of legislation, we went back and, when this started coming up by some of our members about all of these emergency declarations, it was valid points that you've got over 40 different emergencies that are still out there. Some go back to the 1970s, by the way. And I do think it warrants a complete review of these emergencies that have been used now for things that aren't directly related to their intended purposes, but still serve a vital purpose, meaning sanctions against Iran, sanctions against the Merchant of Death, who President Biden just let go back to Russia. Those sanctions should still be in place. The committees are now looking at whether or not we should revise the emergency declarations and that whole process. I mean, right now a president can declare an emergency and it just lives on forever. Again, there's one that goes back to Jimmy Carter's days that is still in place. I don't know if President Carter knows that an emergency he declared in 1979 is still on the books. That emergency, by the way, should probably be revised. And if the sanctioning entities should still be sanctioned, we should do it in a more modern way. We should modernize all of those. We shouldn't necessarily just vote for getting rid of all of them, because some of the groups that they're sanctioning should be sanctioned. But I do think we should modernize them. The committees right now are looking at modernizing them. You don't necessarily just throw them all out, you revise them. But it does beg the question, we need to have, I think, an overarching revision of the ability where a president can declare an emergency and it can live on forever, where Congress plays no role. I do think Congress ought to have a role to play after some period of time. You see that with war powers. I think in the case of emergencies, we should have that too. But right now, you don't just get rid of them. Let's modernize them. Thank you.
Thank you.